Welcome back to CBS 42 Plus Evenings. It is March, Sherry, and you know what that means.
It's time for some college basketball. Two big stories, though, coming out of Tuscaloosa today. Breaking news. One was Charles Bediako dropped his lawsuit against the NCAA. But the other big story out of Tuscaloosa today is AJ Holliday being arrested on drug charges. And so we have our CBS 42 digital sports producer, AJ Holliday, joining us now to kind of talk about that arrest and the impact of what's going down with that. The university responded to that today, AJ.
Yeah, there's really no other way to cut it than this is a really, really big loss for the University of Alabama. AJ Holliday is the second leading scorer on this team, only behind LeBaron Feiland. So his impact is going to be felt tremendously. And this kind of shakes up the way Alabama goes as far as approaching this tournament, right? I think if you watch Sports Talk with me and Lamb last week, I kind of said I have this team making a run to at least the Elite Eight. And now with Aiden being no longer on the team as of now, things get interesting. I think they're still good for that first game against Hofstra, but that second game against potentially Texas Tech is where it gets a lot more interesting now.
I was surprised to learn, I think the day, it was yesterday, maybe it was Saturday, I think it was yesterday, that Alabama is the leading scorer. Their team scores more points than the other teams.
Yeah, that's been sort of the MO under Nate Oates. They play fast and they get a lot of points. It's weird because they score a lot, and on the other end, they give up a lot of points. And that's kind of where they find themselves in competitive ball games with teams that maybe aren't supposed to be as competitive with them. As we saw in the SEC tournament, they lost their first game to Ole Miss, who was the 15 seed. Alabama was the number 2 seed. So it was a big upset because Alabama just couldn't stop them, although they were able to score. And so that's one of the big things. They're an undersized team. They've lacked depth in their front court. That's been their biggest flaw this season. That's why sort of the Charles Bediako situation happened, because they're looking for some size because they needed it. And we saw, obviously, how that played out.
Okay, so tied aside, we want to talk some bracket talk. The CBS 42 bracket challenge is going on. AJ, you already have your bracket picked.
I do.
Oh, let's see this bracket.
This is one of my favorite times of the year. Me and Lamb were talking. I mean, this is one, when you get the newsroom buzzing, right, when everybody creates their little bracket and everybody is so excited, thinking they're going to have a perfect bracket, only for it to bust on the first day.
Day one.
But yeah, I've completed mine today. We still have the first four games that are tomorrow and Wednesday. But I picked for my final four, for anybody interested, I got UConn, Houston, Arizona, and Michigan.
Oh, where's Duke?
I had Duke losing early, a lot earlier than people probably thought. I had them losing in the Sweet 16.
What's your strategy behind that, or guess behind that?
Just sort of matchups and just kind of seeing I had them matching up with St. John's. They're a really good physical team, one of those teams that could give Duke struggles. And so I picked them to upset Duke. For my national championship game, I had Arizona and Houston. Now, Houston was in the national championship last year. They have one of my favorite coaches ever in Kevin Sampson, looking for his first title. But I had Arizona. winning the whole thing. Alabama's familiar. They beat the brakes off of Alabama earlier this season. And so I had them cutting down the nets when it's all said and done.
So let me ask this, because I follow the seeding from the NCAA, and for me personally, the last couple of years, maybe last few years, the seeding's been so off. I can't really follow them. What do you think about how these teams are seeded?
So obviously, people go with the ones. A lot of people pick the ones to go in advanced part just because they've earned the right to be the top seed. But it's really those, 6, 11, 8, 9 matchups that you got to look for and pick your upsets, right? Because in the tournament, there's always at least one team that's a Cinderella run. You just never know who it's going to be. So just watching across the country, I watch a lot of basketball, and I'm still probably going to be wrong on half of these. But just trying to figure out, okay, who can get upset? But it's March, right? Anything can happen. It's one game, win or go home, and that's the beauty of the sport and what makes March Madness so fun.
Oh, the word is bracketology.
Yeah.
It's a science.
On
There's
ours,
a science
Sherry.
to it. I know. I really got to think about it. And I don't have, big time strategy.
I kind of guess, and I don't have strategy either. I guess I do get my, what's the word? I go over it with my people. I'm going to talk with Jacob. I'm going to talk with with all the ones
You
that
got
seem to
sources. You
watch. Sources,
got
yes. I got to
sources.
consult with my sources to build mine, and I'm going to try and do that later today. So we'll see.
It is an awful lot of fun, and we do want to remind people you can watch a lot of those games on CBS 42 starting on Thursday morning. Cue the music! TCU versus Ohio State at 11 o'clock on Thursday morning. You want to ping pong these or just let them look at them?
We can read some of them. We got all these games that are going to be on CBS 42, so be sure to watch. What is this coming? Friday? Yeah, Santa Clara versus Kentucky. That's at 11 a.m. Friday night at 6 p.m. UNI versus St. John's. You mentioned St. John's is going to be a good one. Thoughts on some of these games that are going to be on CBS 42 Thursday?
Really excited for those Friday games in particular. St. John's, Rick Pitino. Really excited to see him, and maybe he breaks out the all-white suit.
The all-white suit.
One of the games I'm looking forward to will be played the first game that Thursday morning, TCU Ohio State. One of those 8-9 games where it's just kind of a pick-em game, a toss-up game there. I think in my bracket I picked Ohio State, but that's going to be a good one.
No, yeah, AJ, I was thinking
sure.
TCU on that one.
Yeah,
so
that's one of those
see what
50-50s.
happens.
Let the madness begin, guys. And you all at home can join in on the fun if you go to our website, cbs42.com. Oh my gosh, where was it? Station info.
There it was.
Well, contest. For the people at home, go to contest on our homepage. Then you can click on the basketball bracket challenge, and you can participate and compete against all of us. We still have to put ours in, but AJ, you have one.
Yeah.
Me and Sherry will have one. Our other anchors, the meteorologist team as well, so we can all see who comes out on top this year.
Beat the VIPs.
Yes.
Beat it.
All right, AJ, thank you.